Good morning. Thanks for joining me today. This is Diana Hinkle, and we are here again on a Monday morning in the Pacific Northwest with continuing education. Thanks for joining me, and for those of you that will be watching the replay, thank you so much for watching this. I'm very passionate about my horses and my animals in general, not just people. And so today I wanted to share a little bit more about Equine, our horse friends. And I do own several of them, and I'm still have one that is expecting a baby anytime soon. So I'm on baby watch, and I can't wait. And I hope that everything is fine, hunky-dory, because this has not been a good year when it comes to the babies in my neck of the woods. So I do want to let you know that this is in no way treating, diagnosing, or curing anything. This is just simple education on teaching you a little bit more about essential oils and what they can do for you and how they can help you around the house, with your family, with your friends, and your animals. I use these all the time, and it's been an amazing journey with them. And I couldn't see my life without them anymore, because I've invested the time to get to know what they are, to understand what they are. And it's like, why didn't I know about these years ago? And I think maybe part of that is because there's been so many problems with essential oils in the past that they've been diluted, or they're have other things in them. They're not as pure as we thought they were, and so they didn't really work as well for us. So I did find doTERRA. I am so grateful that I have, because they are such a pure product. The company is very interested in the product and what it does for us and for our health and wellness. It's not about the money, it's about us. Okay, so a little bit more about me real quick is I ended a 30-year career in the dental field, and dental assistant managing. I've done surgeries, I've done implants, I've done dentures, I've done it all. So considering that I left that to pursue a way to help people in another asset, right? Because essential oils really are, it's all about a lifestyle change, and it really has changed my life in so many ways. I'm blessed in many, many, many ways. So knowing all that and discovering what they are and how they can help you has been wonderful. So today I want to share a few recipes that you can consider for your horses, and you can use these on others too, like your dogs, sometimes your cats as well. Cats are a little more picky, a little more finicky. We have to be careful, a little more careful with them, because they don't metabolize the oils, the essential oils, like other animals do. And so that's why you want to be careful. And always, when you're using on a cat, it's don't use the melaleuca. That's one thing not to do. But for a cat, you would put it in your hands, rub it together with your fractionated coconut oil, so it's diluted, just like a child. But that's how you're going to treat a cat, and just coat it on their fur. It soaks in very quickly, and even if they're licking it off their fur later, typically don't worry about that too much. But you do, please get with someone that that is a little bit more knowledgeable in the cats. If you're not sure, make sure you find someone that can help you through that process. Dogs are the same. Dogs are a little bit better. They're not so finicky, not as picky. And so a lot of the recipes that we use on our equine horses, we can use them on our horses as well, or on the dogs as well. So, and to think about this too, despite the size of an essential or of a horse, they are no different than an adult human. So whenever you're using an essential oil, on your horse, then make sure you're diluting it with a carrier oil. I'll explain that a little bit more. And then also make sure that you don't get it in their eyes, don't put it up their nostrils, and because you're going to treat them the same way as you would an adult person. 1 to 2 drops by itself is typically all you need, especially if you're going to use it internally. So it's helping you get back to basics of what you can do and have around your home that will help you reduce your costs and help you be prepared, okay? Because life happens, and by golly, I do know that. It does happen. And I'll tell you, sometimes it's not fun. And, you know, number one thing that I tell everybody, all of my equine friends, or even the dogs, cat, whatever animal you have, first thing is, don't panic, okay? If you're the person that's panicking and you have somebody around you, ask them to do something, because you're the one that's going to do something you really shouldn't do, or you're going to do apply in the wrong way, okay? So just don't panic, okay? So there are 3 ways to use essential oils. The first way is aromatic, okay? How do you do that, right? Well, aromatic is easy. That's simply just smelling the oil, right? And you would, for a horse, you can simply take the bottle, take the lid off, and just a few times around their nose and let them smell that, okay? That's all you need. I know that sounds kooky, but it really is, because when we smell an oil, we have those little hairs in our nose. And so the molecules that we don't see attach to those hairs, and then it travels up to the olfactory, and then it gets into the lymphatic system or the bloodstream. So no matter what, if you're smelling it, it's getting in you, okay? Keep that in mind whenever you're smelling something, because if you smell good or smell bad, remember, it's still getting in you. So, and sometimes we smell things we don't really want to smell, right? And it could be toxic to us, okay? Same with them. If they don't want it, they're going to tell you. If they want it, they're going to want to eat it. That's what's so fun about horses. They just simply go, whether you have the lid off or not, they just simply go, oh my gosh, I'm there. They just want to just eat the darn bottle. It's crazy. I've had that happen so many times. It's unreal. It's amazing, actually. And so that's the aromatic. You can also put it on your hands, rub it in your hands, and just put it by their nose and let them smell it, okay? The other way you can do is you can put it on a cloth and let them smell it that way. And you could also, like, if you wanted them to smell it longer, you can put it on a part of the halter or a part of the bridle, so you're taking it off later. So if you're like wanting to have a calmer horse, then we would think about the essential oils that are for calming, and put a little bit on their bridle where they can smell it. And it doesn't have to be right next to their nose, because they can smell this way better than we can. Their sense of smell is 10 times better than ours. Actually, I think it's more than that, but we'll go with the 10 times, okay? Excuse me. And you can also put it on a warm cloth, like for steam, if you're looking at that way too, okay? So that's how you use it aromatically. And you don't necessarily have to take the lid off the bottle. They can smell it through the lid, okay? I've had this happen so many times, and the first time that we ever experienced this was absolute to our amazement, where my husband stuck his hand out through the fence, and every single one of them was running up the fence, and all of a sudden they stopped, turned around, came back, smelled the essential oil, and then walked off. Every horse did that. And we're like, wow, did you see that? I wish we would have gotten it on video, because we were videotaping that day, but unfortunately we didn't get that part on there, because we weren't paying much attention until we're like, wait, you see what they're doing? They're all like, because we took one of the mares away. And of course the other mares were like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do with them, right? Mares are funny. Anyhow, it's like we were just amazed because we were like, did you see that? Did you see that? And the fact that they all did the same thing was incredible. So that's aromatic, all right? So then you can apply topically. So where on a horse do you apply it topically? There are many different places. We have the reflex points like the cornet band. We have the spine. Spine is the best place in most cases. But if you're going to use an oil that may be a little more concentrated or sensitive to the skin, please don't put it on the spine. That's probably not a good place to put it. And if you have a horse that is kind of like trying to get away from you, or they look agitated, if they are show a little welt after you've applied an essential oil, especially if you've applied it without the dilution of a carrier oil, then that's not necessarily an oil that you want to reapply with them, or next time make sure you have a carrier oil with it. So what is a carrier oil? A carrier oil is simply like fractionated coconut oil where they've taken the solids out of the coconut oil, and it's a liquid, it's clear liquid, and there's no smell to it. Olive oil, jojoba oil, sunflower seed oil, almond oil. I mean, there's tons of different carrier oils. And why we say a carrier oil is because you can put your essential oil in that particular oil, and what it does is it helps in dispensing your essential oil, and it helps it stay better, and it helps it penetrate into the layers, okay? And plus it brings down any type of sensitivity. So if you think that they're going to have a sensitivity, make sure you're doing that. But really, it's best, and the dilution rate would be like 1 to 4. So 1 drop of your essential oil and 4 drops of your carrier oil. That's a good ratio to think about, okay? Or you can do your witch hazel as well if you're going to mix it into something. So mixing it with your carrier oils in a spray bottle or any bottle itself, that's usually very good. Witch hazel is another one that's really good because it helps it soak into the skin very quickly. So this is a fractionated coconut oil. That's my choice of carrier oil, is a fractionated coconut oil. So the reflexology points, you've got your, the tips of the ears is another place that you can apply. Of course, we already said the coronet band, or the hoof itself, or above the hoof. And you can actually apply to a hoof, especially coconut oil in itself. That fractionated coconut oil with some rosemary is awesome for the hoofs. Instead of using a petroleum-based product, think about that, okay? You can put it over the pole, okay, behind the ears, or between. If you're going to do that, please don't make sure you're diluting it, okay? Make sure you're using your carrier oils with that. Typically, if you are going to apply it, make sure that you are not just taking the bottle and going drip, 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 okay? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get more drops than you want, and the possibility of it dribbling down the side of their neck and creating sensitivity is higher, okay? So the best way to do that is if you're going to put it on your hands first and then apply it. Don't just take the bottle and drip it. And then again, if you miss, they move their head all of a sudden, then you have the possibility of them getting it in their eye, which is not what you want to do either. If you happen to get it into someplace like the eye where it's not supposed to go, or inside the ear where it's not supposed to go, now the ear eventually, it'll dissipate, okay? Please never put anything right straight down the ear. Apply it to your fingers or your hand first and then apply it. If you get it in the eyes, don't use any water, okay? Take your carrier oil that you're using and use a cotton swab or a cotton ball or an old sock, whatever it is that you have, and then apply it over the eye, Okay, they're going to close their eye, which is good, and just keep applying it over the eye, not in the eye, but over the eyelid. Okay, that will help dissipate. They're not going to go blind. Okay, I promise they won't go blind, but they're going to tear up a lot. It's going to be irritating to them. But you don't want to use the water because water is a driver. Water makes it penetrate farther. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're not doing that. Okay, so no water in the eye. Apply over the eye your carrier oil. If you don't have any carrier oil, which you should, if you've been applying oils to essential oils to your horse, you should have that. If you don't, use any kind of milk product or anything that has a fat substance to it, okay? That will help as well. I know I once had a young lady who was at a rodeo, and she was brand new to essential oils, and she put lemon, lavender, and peppermint all in the same spot, all on the neck, and it dribbled down the neck, and she had this huge welt that was about 6 inches long and about 2 inches wide. And of course she panicked, thinking that she had done something to her horse. Well, actually that was a sensitivity. So that's why I say don't take the bottle and dribble it on your horse. That's probably not the best thing to do. Try to use it in a spray bottle. That's the best way. If you really need to apply it directly out of the bottle, make sure that you're using a carrier oil with that so you don't have those issues, okay? So, of course, it's like, well, apply something, you know, find some milk or ice cream or cream or whatever. It's like, I'm at a rodeo. You think we're going to find that? I'm like, wait, you can't find ice cream at a rodeo? Why not? I mean, yeah, anyway, there's food, usually. Anyway, horse was fine, did the best run it had ever done. And she knew there were certain things that certain oils would do. And so she thought, well, peppermint gives you more oxygen, better run. Lemon is good to help and get rid of toxins and help the digestive system. And lavender is very calming. So I think the biggest thing was the peppermint that ended up dribbling on the horse's neck. That created the sensitivity. I kind of doubt that the lavender did, and possibly the lemon did, though, but lavender definitely probably didn't. Okay, so back to the topical. You know what not to do, and you want to massage it in, okay? If you're using the spine, massage that in circular motions, and apply it on your hands. Or if you've got a horse that is like colicky, you can apply a product called Digestin. Really great. Apply it over the flank and just massage it in, because usually if a colicky horse, that's where they're going to get found out at. And then, of course, we talked about over the pole. Be careful with that. You can put it in their shampoo if you're giving the horse a bath. You can do hot or cold compresses. You can apply like 1 drop of essential oil to like 2 cups of ice water, or a cold compress, or hot water for the hot compress. And you can soak the cloth in the water. Okay, so what will happen is the cloth will soak up the essential oils. Okay, and then make sure you're wringing it out. So the things when you're applying topical that you would want to have around would be several different things. Okay, one is you definitely want a bucket. And you want either a cotton glove, a rag, old sock, something like that. Your carrier oil, a glass or a metal spray bottle, because essential oils pull petrochemicals out of plastic. Okay, plastic is made with petroleum, which is an oil based, not the essential oil. That's a different oil, and that can be toxic when they pull the petrochemicals. Those chemicals that are in that petroleum, it pulls it out. So if you can have a bucket that is not plastic, get a metal bucket, a metal spray bottle, or a glass spray bottle. Okay, those are the best. You can do some little jars if you're making salves and things like that. But aloe vera gel or juice is another one that you can use as a carrier. They're really good for that. So there's a lot of different ways to apply, okay? So that's internal. Then that's topical. Then we have internal. Internal oils make sure the label says that it's meant for internal consumption, okay? A lot of your essential oil companies, they do not have that, okay? For a doTERRA essential oil, and that's what I use the most because I know it's certified pure therapeutic grade. I know that it's pure. It's not adulterated, okay? When it's meant for ingestion, there's a supplement fact, and I'll show this to you. And it says supplement facts, and it tells you at the very bottom of that, talks about the CPTG, but it says, let me see, for internal use, dilute 1 drop in 4 fluid ounce, okay? So whether that's in a shot of water, a little bit of water, milk, whatever it is, okay, or just simply out of the bottle, straight out of the bottle, okay? That's internal. You can put it on your finger and rub it on the inside of their mouth. No more than 1 to 2 drops. Make sure that it's not a hot oil, like cinnamon is very hot, oregano is very hot. So that's not something that you want to just directly put on their lip because that's going to burn them. Okay, that's going to feel. You try it and see how it feels to you. Okay, their mouth is just as sensitive as ours and probably more sensitive. So the residue is all they need. And 1 drop per gallon of drinking water. So if you're going to head to a show or you're doing a lot of show, if you're putting lemon in your water at home so that when you go somewhere else and they don't want to drink that water, put the lemon in it. It smells like their water at home. And you'll have a higher chance of them smelling or drinking their water better, okay? Some horses are very picky. And this is something that you want to keep them hydrated, right? Very important, and plus you want them to also expel as well. So if they're not urinating like they should either, you're going to have a horse with some problems. Very important. So let's get into, so we know how to use them. Aromatically, topical, and internal. Make sure you read a label. And so I do have a bunch of recipes. I did place 1 recipe for a cool down mist in the chat, but I want to make sure that you know that if you are showing, make sure that you read the guidelines of your group because there are many herbs and essential oils that are considered illegal for your horse to have. So most essential oils within 24 hours have left the system, but sometimes it doesn't. And peppermint is number 1 probably because it's even for race horses, they can't have peppermint because that gives them a quote advantage because peppermint is something that helps in bringing more oxygen to the bloodstream. It signals the brain to say, hey, I need more oxygen, so it produces more. So if they produce more oxygen, they probably get a better run, right? So the same with you. But so if you're using the cool down mist, okay, that still is something that gets into their skin, which gets into the bloodstream. So make sure that it's something that's not legal or not illegal for you, or you're not going to be showing anytime in the near future, okay? Very important. We are going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about several different oils, and I put together little, like I call emergency kits, and this is what it looks like. It's a little group of oils. There are 10 of them in here. And I call this my emergency or getting started kit because it contains the essential oils that I would need on a routine, but not only routine, but on, like if I'm traveling, I'm at a show, this is convenient and easy for me to take anywhere. So I have Digest Zen, and we'll talk about that here for a little bit. Digest Zen is a blend for digestive issues, as its namesake. Where do you apply Digest Zen? So you kind of have a colicky horse, put some over the flank, and rub it in, okay? Now, digestin is already mixed with a carrier oil, so you don't need to add more of the carrier oil because it's already diluted for you, okay? If you want to, you can put it in their feed because it has fennel in there. It smells like licorice. So if you have had treats for your horse and they are licorice based, they're going to love that. Okay, but only need 1 or 2 drops. Okay, that's all you need. Then we go into, let me talk a little bit more about digestion. If you have a horse with diarrhea, loose stools, then that's another possibility for you. I'm looking at my horses. They decided that they needed to come up. Distraction. Especially some big black one that's ready to have a bowl. I'm like, sooner or later, we're at 372 days today. It's like, I'm starting to panic, but my vet says, don't panic. I'm like, but how do you not? I don't know. I'm like, oh my gosh, would you hurry up? Crazy. Anyway, so digestin, very good for that. Even for allergies, it's good for the allergies, diarrhea, digestion. Even if you have a horse with ulcers, this is a good product for you, okay? And if you have a horse that's been showing a lot of times you have horses that have ulcers because they get anxiety, just like us, and they create ulcers, just like us, okay? And also, a horse shouldn't vomit. And if you have a horse that's vomiting, you've got some really big issues, okay? Something I learned a long time ago. I've had horses pretty much all my life. Okay, so then we're going to talk about Serenity. Serenity is, you can either use lavender or you can use Serenity. So Serenity itself is very calming. I found that most horses prefer Serenity over just lavender. And so that's a horse to use for calming. You can use it for burns also. Lavender is great for that. It's also good for inflammation is another one, okay? So any kind of wound, it's good for that too. The lavender is very, very soothing and very good for helping healing process. Then you have Breathe. Breathe is for that respiratory support in many different ways. On Guard is a blend that doTERRA has put together. So these are blends. A lot of these are blends. So the On Guard itself is your immune support, okay? And so for me, whether I have a horse that has maybe snotty nose, maybe they need some more immune support, maybe they have more parasites or maybe a spider bite, On Guard's very good for that. And if you're on the road and you are showing and you get into a stall, you can actually put On Guard in a spray bottle with water, okay, and spray the areas that the horse is going to be eating at. I think most places don't have a feeder, but like the door, the handles, the things that you don't think about that could be carrying germs, and you don't want your horse to have it from the horse previous, okay? Very good for that, okay? Helping getting rid of the bacteria and viruses that might be lingering around, okay? Deep Blue is a product that's another blend that I use it only if needed, okay? There are other ones that you can use like Aroma Touch that are good for circulation, and good for the lactic acid with sore muscles. Deep Blue can do the same thing, but it has rum and chamomile in there, which is part of your, the blue tansy. So that's the tansy family. We only want to use that sparingly, and if we have nothing else, okay? Because what essential oils can do is build up toxicity in the liver. No different than when we use a medication, same thing can happen, okay? Oregano is really good for helping clean up. When you use oregano, good for the respiratory. It's good for hoof rot and other infections, or even ringworm. Anything that way. Oregano is your go-to, but it's a hot oil. Make sure that you're diluting it, okay? Melaleuca, another word is tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is great. It's great antibacterial. And so even if you do a spray bottle with your On Guard and put a little bit of a couple drops of Melaleuca in there, that's great. And you can use a plastic bottle if you want, because you're going to have to shake it. If you use water, shake the bottle every time before you spray, because essential oils and water don't combine themselves, okay? So you want to constantly shake it. And if you use a bigger bottle, bigger spray bottle, if you're going to use it right away, then don't worry so much about it, because it's going to, as long as you're using a good, that number 2 grade plastic, because it's going to take a long time for it to pull the petrochemicals out. And they say it's safe for us to use. So don't use your really, like your water bottle, that kind of plastic. Not good for that. For styrofoam, definitely not. Peppermint. Peppermint is very good for, like I said earlier, helping the brain produce more oxygen in the bloodstream. And so respiratory, digestive, inflammation, sore muscles, mucus. What else do we have? I mean, just a number of different things. It's very good at helping in cooling or warming the body, whatever the body needs, okay? Lemon is a detoxifier, very good to put in their water if you're looking at something to put so that you can protect them a little bit more when you go out and about. Lemon in their water is really good, no different than us drinking lemon in our water. Why do we drink it in our water? Because it's a good detoxifier of the liver, okay? And it's the same for them. Lavender, everything calming. We just talked about that. Okay, so there's a couple other ones that I want to talk to you about, and those are, there's 2. There's helichrysum, and I'll actually type it in here so that you know what it is. And helichrysum is a essential oil from the flower. You have some bleeding, and this is a little more spendy, but this is what it is, okay, helichrysum. But it's really good for wound care. It's very good for bleeding. So if there's a bleeding going on, it can help in stopping the bleeding. So it helps it coagulate. So that you get that blood clot in there. And helichrysum is also good for the nerve damage. Any nerve damage is also good for the liver. And then the other one is frankincense. Frankincense is like a go-to. This is an everything essential oil, okay? Our doTERRA frankincense comes from a place that a lot of people would not want to go. And because a lot of people think that it comes from your, Asia, or not Asia, but you can think of some. It's coming from, ours is coming from Malay. Oh my gosh, my brain went totally south. I'll think about it here in a second. Anyway, there's the species of the frankincense is really good. And it's a resin. So frankincense is kind of like you can't think about it, or when in doubt, use frankincense. It's very good. It's an anti-inflammatory. It can be very calming. It's an antibacterial as well. It's good for scars. It's good for warts. It's also good for insect bites and things like that. And so it's really great that you can have all these arsenals for yourself to be prepared for a lot of different things. The Aroma Touch blend that I talked about is really good for helping any kind of swelling that you've got going on. When you massage that into the leg, don't just put it on the leg. You have to really get in there and really massage the leg, help release that inflammation, okay? And so I really quick want to give you a couple more recipes, and let me grab that. And I do have one up about wound salve. You can make your own wound salve. which is great. But if you're using a coconut oil base, just remember that when it's warm, it melts, okay? So keep it cool, keep it in a dry, cool place. And your essential oil should be in a dry, cool place as well. But you can use a metal or glass container again. You can use, you can put lavender, frankincense, sandalwood, helichrysum, and oregano in a coconut oil base. Really good salve. So you would do 8 to 10 drops of lavender, 6 to 8 drops of frankincense, 4 to 6 drops of sandalwood, 4 to 6 drops of helichrysum, and 1 to 2 drops of oregano. Okay, you can add 1 to 2 drops of melaleuca in there if you'd like, and you just melt your coconut oil, and that's what you put it in. Now, if I make a wound salve, I don't make just my own. I usually make enough for more than one person. So usually I'm going to have anywhere from 1 to 2 cups of my coconut oil and melt that down and then add my essential oils in there. You might want something different. You have to look at what it is that you're wanting to do with that essential oil, or what kind of wound salve would you like. So all these are very healing. Melissa is another one that you could think about adding into, and some more spendy oil, but it's a powerhouse, okay? Or doTERRA has a product called Immortelle, which has all the big kahunas in there, the big essential oils like your rose, your helichrysum, your frankincense, Melissa, all those are lavender. They're all in there, and it's good for skin health. And so if you think about a wound, it's skin health, right? So inside and out. So you could just add a little, anywhere from, 10 to 20 drops of just that, and that will work for you, okay? That makes it a little simpler. Okay, some real quick housekeeping do's and don'ts for your equine horses. So use caution. Always dilute, right? Topical, especially for those oils like oregano, cinnamon, rosemary, thyme, even clove. Clove is huge. Do your research. Always keep learning more about essential oils and how to use them, so you know how to use them. Use therapeutic grade or medical grade essential oils. Do use caution when it comes to a pregnant or nursing animal, or even your young ones. Do your research, your horse's health, okay? And sometimes if you have a horse that's taking medications, you really need to make sure that the medication that horse is taking is not going to have, there's not going to be, the essential oil isn't going to affect that medication, okay? Just like us, we have medications that you don't want to use certain things. You don't want to like for instance, grapefruit juice or grapefruit with your time-released products out there for cholesterol and things like that, because it will absorb that medication faster, and then when they need the medication, when the body needs it, it's not there for them to utilize, okay? Make sure you're keeping track of how your horse is behaving, okay? You're using essential oils, how are they reacting afterwards? And all of a sudden, I think I got the hiccups. And especially when you're applying those oils to them, how do they react to you? If you think there's a problem, please call your veterinarian, okay? Especially if there's abnormal behaviors or illness in your horse. If you feel like it's something more than your essential oils can handle, always call your veterinarian. And, and it's up to us to talk to our veterinarians about natural health and what we're doing with our animals so that they know. And then if we're doing research, because they're usually pretty busy, if we do some research, they don't have to do that research because we've helped them understand it. And let's ask for more information about using natural. If you want to use natural, ask them, what do you have that's natural that I can use instead of just a normal medication? Because sooner or later, they have to do the research because you're asking for it, right? Okay, don't. Here's the don'ts. Don't use oils in the nose, in the ears, or in the eyes. Okay? Don't use them around the genitals or the anus of your horse. Don't do that. You might not like the result. Don't use water to dilute an essential oil that you've already applied. Okay? Always, like I said, use a carrier oil or something else to dilute, but never the water. Even if it's just plain old vegetable oil that you've got for cooking. Don't apply essential oils after bathing while the horse is still wet. And there again, it's the water thing. Don't use essential oils at the same time as another topical medication, including your dermal patches, because you won't know if they have a reaction. You're not going to know what they're having the reaction from, if it's going to be from what you applied or if it's the essential oil. Don't panic. Number one, don't panic. I once had a lady that did panic, and she took the peppermint bottle, and I believe it was wintergreen, and she just dumped essential oil, drops of essential oils on the shoulder. And she didn't quite understand why the horse was moving around so much. Well, it's like take a quarter cup of absorbing junior and apply it to your leg, and what does it feel like? That's pretty much what she did, was the equivalent, because she's like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 drops of each, and I'm like, oh my gosh, poor horse. So don't panic. Let somebody else help you, because you're going to have some reactions there, or an adverse reaction possibly. Immediately dilute those areas. If that happens, please dilute with the carrier oil. Don't use water, but start putting a carrier oil of some sort, something on there, okay? And let it resolve itself, because it will. In a few hours it will, sometimes less than that. Don't apply oils to the saddle area prior to riding. That's another thing, because the horse is from the sweat, okay? Don't do that either, because that you might not have a happy horse when you're out there riding them when they start sweating. And that is not something we want to see you dump, because your horse doesn't feel good, okay? So those are the do's, those are the don'ts. So think about that. So real quick, I'm going to give you some recipes. If you guys are interested, if anybody out there is interested, there are recipes, and there is there's plenty of recipes out there, and I will, how do I get these to you? I do have them on my Facebook group, and they are horse spray recipes, and there are many different ones. One that a couple of them that I'll give you right now is for your joints, or your ligaments. So if you're not wanting to use the deep blue, you can make your own. You would use, in a 4-ounce bottle, you want to put in 20 drops of cypress, 10 drops of fir, white fir, but white fir we don't get anymore. We have a Siberian fir, which is even better. And then we have 10 drops of frankincense and 5 drops of lemongrass. Okay, so you put all of those essential oils in a 4-ounce bottle. Okay, you would top it off with your carrier oil, or you can use witch hazel, either way. And so apply it directly over the joints or the tendons. So any ligaments that are issuing, usually that's going to be like over the back, on the legs, because they've been worked really hard. So that's another one to help in supporting and relief in those areas. If you're wanting energy, same thing, 4-ounce bottle, 20 drops of peppermint, 10 drops of lemongrass, 5 drops of rosemary, and 5 drops of the Siberian fir or white fir. And then the optional thing in this one is 5 drops of Melissa. Now, Melissa is a lemon balm. Okay, so if you are using these, if you're applying them directly to the skin because there's lemon in them, citrus oils, you don't want to expose yourself to the sun for 24 hours. So kind of keep that in mind. And, you know, in this case, you're mixing it. It's not a direct lemon or citrus in this case, but it is something to be mindful of. Okay. And let's see, what else can I give you? Oh, this is a really good one. So how many of us have issues with the hoof? Depending on if they get out, if they're in a stall, are they in pasture all the time? So we have, occasionally we have those hoof issues. So for a hoof rot, you could use 20 drops of lemongrass, 10 drops of frankincense, 10 drops of thyme, 5 drops of geranium, and 5 drops of myrrh. Yeah, I will say something about myrrh. Myrrh is very, very thick. Doesn't come out of the bottle very quickly. You might need a pipette, and a pipette is just helpful, or take the orifice reducer, which, so when you have a essential oil that is extremely thick, you have this little orifice reducer here. You can take that off and use an eyedropper of some sort, which is, that's what a pipette is. It's like an eyedropper. That will be very helpful if you don't want to stand there all day waiting for those few drops. And the same thing, you put all of those in a bottle, spray bottle. You can use your carrier oil or witch hazel. You apply it directly to the hoof and the cornet band. Okay, and that helps promote circulation and helps and you can do it underneath too. So if you're spraying at the frog, you can also do that. Okay, so all the way around. And then, you know, I have a product, well, I should say doTERRA has a product called Correct X. It is an ointment. I don't have it here, but it's something I use a lot. And it has the frankincense, lavender, cedarwood, melaleuca. It's really very powerful, like an antibiotic ointment. And I've used that a lot of times for health or hoof issues, and I will put a thin line around the frog and then wrap the hoof with your vet wrap or something and let that soak in. And then it keeps it clean, of course, you're right. And once a day, twice a day, it's however often that you feel you need to do that. But it's another way of, instead of a spray bottle, if you want to apply something directly to the frog, it's like us, our feet are the largest pores, and it gets into where it needs to go. So if you're looking for whether it's your joint health, whether it's the hoof itself, or anything that's got going on, you can apply at the hoof. Okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So those are the things about it. I know I've kind of gone overboard a little bit and talked about a whole lot of things. And if you are looking for someone, you know, whether you found this on YouTube or you have been introduced to essential oils by a friend, or if you have, or you just found me, you can opt into my continuing education every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And all you have to do is, and I'll type this in there, you text the word heaven oil, excuse me, it's at, with the at sign. I always forget that. At Heaven's Oil, and you text it to 81010. And that will give you you will get in, it opts you into my live and replay links directly to your phone. And so you'll never miss one. If you want to listen to it, wonderful. If you don't want to listen to it, I won't be offended, okay? So you guys do a great day, and if you want to find out more, you can, I have no problem with you reaching out to me. My email address is heavenscentoil@gmail.com, and I will type that in too. And that way you can get a hold of me anytime you want. and I can help you get with someone that's in your area, or I can help you as well. I go everywhere. If you are interested in hosting, I'm always available to help you host and teach you and others in your group. So there's a lot we can learn all the time. We learn, it's a learning in progress. It's always, always, always. And never stop learning, because you're always going to learn more. So you guys take care. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Same place, same channel. Have fun. Thanks, everyone.